I think it's pretty obvious to say most of us would love to stay in our homes as long as possible, but there are some challenges out there, physical challenges, cognitive challenges. Family parenting expert is joining us this morning, Stephanie Erickson. Welcome to the show. It's great to have you back.
Thanks, Derek.
Let's talk about, I think probably one of the biggest risks or the biggest challenges is mobility and falls. We hear it all the time. Is that something that you see in your practice quite often?
Yeah, I mean, for me in my practice, it's more of the cognitive, just because that's my specialty, but
Right.
certainly seniors and falls is the #1 risk actually for seniors at home. And what's so unfortunate about it is that it leads to hospitalization. And once that train gets moving, it is so hard to get off of it, and you end up a lot of times in a residence or with more help at home, and it's kind of like the beginning of this long deterioration.
So what can we do about it? How do we protect ourselves or our seniors?
Yeah, there's actually a lot of stuff you can do at home proactively. You can have an occupational therapist, even someone from the CLSC or someone privately, come into your home and actually outfit your home. So there's equipment, raised toilet seats, grab bars. You can do things like fix lighting in your home, which is something that people don't think about.
True.
I need improved lighting in my home because I'm pretty clumsy, you know? Just for anybody, really.
For sure.
You know, special rugs, wearing the proper shoes, putting things that you want to access more regularly within reach, and you can even move furniture around.
Are there subsidies available for this kind of thing when you talk about grab bars and maybe some of the specialized equipment that some seniors may need?
I don't know the answer to that question. I don't think there is.
Interesting to see,
that would be. I mean, the CLSC will provide it for free.
Okay.
So you can go out and they'll provide the equipment and stuff like that. Some of it you do have to buy, some they provide.
Right.
But a lot of people in these situations need it faster than how the CLSC can respond, and so they end up paying privately.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But you can write it off as a medical expense.
Oh, yeah, of course,
Yeah.
of course. I want to talk about safety from exploitation. We mentioned a little bit earlier on the show these scams and seniors getting defrauded. This is something you have to pay really careful attention to.
Really careful attention, and one of the things I suggest families do, if their loved one is allowing them to do it, is to look at the mail regularly.
Okay.
Because in the mail you can see invoices that are coming in, special offers, donations, those kinds of things. The other thing is just people coming to the door, because there are people in neighborhoods who scout out and say, okay, this is a vulnerable home, I'm going to go there, knock on the door. So we have things like, you know, doorbell alarm systems which go to your smartphone. I don't know if you have it at your house, I don't at my house, but someone rings a doorbell, you can look on the camera and see who's there, and the families can look at the camera, and at least that way there's some sort of, I guess, retribution if something does happen.
Yeah, and you know, and make sure, I think, you know, if you have to make a decision in that moment, that's a red flag to me, right?
Yeah.
If somebody's putting pressure on you at your door to make a decision, you know, that's a red flag, and make sure you talk to a family member about it or a friend. The other thing I like to talk about is nutritional safety. What do you mean by this exactly?
Well, seniors are at risk for dehydration, #1, which can lead to urinary tract infections, again, leading to hospitalization, and here we go again with that train that can't be stopped. But we also have things with cognitive losses about food expiring in the refrigerator, so you want to make sure that family members are looking in the fridge and cleaning things out. Also, we've talked before about loneliness and isolation. Eating is a social thing, so seniors tend to eat less, so you want to make sure that families are coming in for a few meals a week or bringing in some nice home-cooked meals as well.
Yeah, and I've seen that, you know, with my own family members where, you know, as they age, they eat less and less and less, and they're not as motivated to even prepare something, especially if they're living alone, right?
Absolutely.
You know, if you're living alone, you're not motivated to make a full meal and that kind of thing, and then you put it off, and it's dangerous. Let's talk about medication safety. Can't say enough, you know, speak to your pharmacist first and foremost, but there are other methods as well, right?
Yeah, but the pharmacist is a great resource because there are lots of different ways that medication can be packaged, and that helps people, particularly with memory issues, to help take their medication as prescribed. You also want to, of course, look at interactions. A lot of people think, oh, it's natural, I just bought it off the shelf, but sometimes there's interactions with your prescribed medication, so your pharmacist is a great resource. And then, of course, there's, you know, sensors and things like this, or phone calls to remind you to take medication, some things that we can put in the home technologically. Say that word. Thank you.
Yeah,
say that word for me. That can be helpful.
It happens this early in the morning to us sometimes, right?
Excuse me.
I called you a parenting expert instead of a family caregiving expert when we came into this the segment.
I was very polite, though. I didn't point it out.
I noticed that. Cognitive loss is also another one. We don't have time to touch on it, but we can have you back to talk about that, because that's an even greater issue. You're going to stick around. We've got a chat coming up in just a few minutes. We'll be back with your headline news, your weather, traffic, and sports right after this.